Hello, dear people. Good afternoon. So, I was over here at a call for an uprising, and he had an interesting video. I want to share with you a small portion of it called You Won't Believe What They're Saying Causes It to Spread Now. And I had kind of given a little guess because, I like to play games. And we'll get back to that. But I thought that what he was going to say per the title question, or the question in the title, is are they attributing it to conspiracy? And then I put, which is truly born out of independent inquiries, destruction via labeling it as a put down by that 4-year-old name calling. Right, you're a conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. Because you ask questions and you shirk the narrative and you use your brain. And so they have used that as a social disinfectant via the, school yard verbal abuse of labeling you, that horrible thing, a conspiracy, blah, blah, because you don't accept the canned, pre-planned narrative that has become a huge weapon that's always being dished out to you through that little black devil box in your living room, I like to call it, or whatever device you take in information: movies, books, television, commercials, music videos, interviews with celebrities. I hate that word, but I have to use it so you know what I'm talking about. Music, commercial breaks, messaging, just coming through 1,000 different vehicles. And I'm not very good at accepting the narrative on anything. I'm a fiercely independent thinker, and I like to arrive at a conclusion based on my own thinking and perceptions and what I see happening around me, as opposed to just opening my mouth and having some other entity above me or around me, mama parrot bird puke is what I call it, information into my open little gullet. I don't like that, and I never have. And so there is a certain necessity for that type of thinking that is definitely needed in today's world. And yet there has been this compliant, sleepy, brother, probably honestly fluoride induced, comatose, lobotomized inability for many people, but especially in my own country. I can't really speak for other countries, but I know my own American countrymen very well, and the way that we think, and even our identity being scripted for us through popular television, has given us this canned identity of what it means to be an American. And there are some people who are willing to think for themselves, but by vast majority in comparison, I really see that many people out there do not do that. And so you're really seeing just this massive deployment of a psychological WAR upon the way that people perceive the information that is being puked out into your waiting mouths. And the narrative is growing and changing every day. And there are some people that are kind of becoming victims to the absolute homicide of logic. So early on, my husband and I, without getting into a lot of specifics, were discussing things very early on, saying that things were not adding up and did not make sense. And if something didn't make sense, you could smell the brimstone of the identity of the person, if you can call an angel a person, behind it, working with his cache of human counterparts that worship him and that you see in Luke 4, when it didn't work on Jesus, that horrible brimstone smelling entity, that Nakash, that false light, had the audacity to tell God in the form of the last Adam, if you will but bow down and worship me, I will give you all of the kingdoms of the earth. This false God said to the real true God. And the real true God, not being infected with that sin condition that is real, is very real, told him, no, and then quoted scripture. And it was actually 3 temptations all together, and much could be said about that, especially in light of the biblical failure of a particular country I'm not allowed to mention, who, wandered in the wilderness. And so you have Christ, and he pops up where? In the wilderness. And they're both titled sons of God, and the Messiah being the Son of God, the big deal, the unique one, the only begotten one. And he just nails the rejection of the slavery that of this offer that was put on him by this weak little angel creation, speaking to the God of the universe, who became his own creation to lead us out. I mean, that's the unthinkable. That is brilliant, this plan of rescue. But Jesus, as I said, told him no, and quoted scripture, you shall serve and worship the Lord your God and him alone. And so you see the just warrior skills through the power of the tongue and through the enacting of his free will, wielding that sword of the Spirit that's talked about there in Hebrews 4:12, I believe, to say no. But you see a community of humanity who has been put in positions of power through telling that same brimstone smelling fake light, who opposes good and who opposes all that is righteous and true and holy and wonderful, who opposes Yahweh and Yahweh in flesh, Jesus the Christ in every way. And so these humans work in and through this arrangement in this kingdom of darkness, in which they are slaves to sin, but they help to craft the plans via their free will, honestly, and quite a lot of trickery, for the exchange of that idolatrous money that people will turn into a god and do anything for, plus position and power and the ability to, purchase whatever kind of sex they want or obtain whatever kind of sex. I mean, just all of these things, all of these little, I'm just going to call them perks to keep it simple. All of those things. And it's given to them by their daddy, Satan. And they do things in lock and step type of action of behaviors and thoughts and ideas and constructs that are like their father, the devil. As father, so does the son do those same types of deeds. And Christ really nails that the children of the devil are essentially unbelievers wrapped up in slavery. And then he was having a conversation with a certain particular group of people in John 8 that I'm not allowed to mention. And he goes into offering them freedom from this slavery. But you have to understand that people are very short-sighted. These people in positions of power and control that are pushing out what the Bible tells you is a big giant lie for control and many other things. They believe that they can take over the vineyard, the earth, the son's inheritance. And so there's many Mesa Luciferians, I like to call them, spirit worshiping entities who have been placed by their father, the devil, into all sorts of technical positions for social engineering and placing the little dominoes of humans, if you will, into what is looking like the wrap up phase of what I can only assume is the lulling period before that 7-year tribulation, and it's being set up for now. And one wonders if we are not, in fact, speeding towards year 5,993, which will flip over, as I've said before, on a Feast of Trumpets. And that's something that I like to study a lot, something I like to talk about a lot, and I put it in a lot of my videos. And I do that because it is virtually suppressed within the church today. There's not many people that know about the feasts, or they have been subjected to a lie that somehow that has to do with the law or something like that, which it really doesn't. But anyhow, point being, if we are in fact watching on a global basis, not just a few nations, but a massive takeover of the planet's resources and the final stages of the setup of that 7 years, you would think that it would look very much like what you see looking out your window all around you in this massive global arrest of all kinds of things. An arrest of your thinking, an arrest of your economic ability to support yourselves, which is really what the enemy wants to do, to weaken you in this. You can't fight back. So many things can be said. There is such a psychological battle for the truth, and it's being crafted to you in so many faulty stories and foolishness, and it is being deployed by your most trusted of leaders, up to and including Christians even getting in on the action. I'm literally feeling ill to my stomach thinking about all of this stuff and what's happening. And there is an article that I was looking at yesterday from Reformation Charlotte on the setup of Samaritan's Purse. Let me see here. And you can see the date on that guy, and I'm really trying to stay away from a particular certain word for reasons that are pretty darn obvious to most people, since I got put in naughty girl jail for 7 days for telling the truth one time too many. So what you now have is the street cred of the, oh, I want to get off of this page. The street cred of the church, your TV churches, your Masonic TV churches. And people just kind of have to grasp the fact and do their research that the Grahams are Masons. You know, just deal with it. Irrespective, friends, of what you have been told and led to believe, like all the other false narratives in this truly a matrix of lies, just like those stupid movies that are Kabbalistic in nature and are not Christian, though they were passed off as Christian in church services and whatnot. Anyhow, there is an element of truth of this plastic reality that has been evoked and constructed all around you. And they have just utilized that trusting nature of humanity to tell you that these are the good ones. And I would tell you that that is untrue. But I really do want to find the Reformation Charlotte article more so than just this. And Democrats are upset that anti blah 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 Christian organization is setting up hospitals in New York. And it's just kind of this issue of layers upon layers upon layers of deception and silliness, foolishness, and kind of just trying to drive a wedge in between, you know, basically hurting people where it just doesn't need to be nurtured. But this is how you have your Marxist, communistic pot stirrers, and she's one of the worst. They put her picture here, and I'm not exactly sure why, other than the relationship that she has with this gentleman. These are pot stirrers. These are your pushing an agenda, Masonic, Christian pioneers of evil to create dissension and do satanic work in the name of Jesus is what's going on with that. In the midst of the largest blah, blah, blah the world has ever seen in modern history, there is a massive shortage of supposedly this equipment is the narrative, and Samaritan's Purse has set up to make a makeshift hospital in a certain location that will house hundreds of beds and provide volunteer staff to treat lemmings. To treat lemmings. Samaritan's Purse is a Christian organization that requires its volunteers to adhere to minimal biblical moral standards and faith. And I would say that most normal people do, but I would tell you that what is being put out to you is Masonic in nature. It is the lie. And we have weird pictures of Franklin. They've been pulled now, but some people got screenshots of him out in front of Voodoo Donut, which is actually kind of in my stomping woods, or my neck of the woods, or stomping grounds, or whatever. I think I just merged two things together. But anyhow, whatever. With a donut from Voodoo Donuts, and their whole thing is this very antichrist, pedo chic, weird agenda. Voodoo is about as antichrist as one can get, and other weirdness that has been associated. Even that location, Voodoo Donuts, being plagued with military or something. It may not have been military, but some type of pedo operations inquiry of officers, shall we say. So there's definitely something that translates from that whole pizza thing to donuts, and there's a whole thing with donuts that I don't even want to get into, but hide your sons, okay, with the donut. And then they put these donuts over their eyes, and so they're doing the whole 666 thing through the donut, through the hide your sons thing, if you can understand what I'm saying. And it's just basically your Crowley weird black sex magic, just creepidocious. So, you know, we're sitting here questioning, why are you playing the game of these Masonic pedo chic type of people at a satanic eatery that makes donuts of Jesus Christ on the cross, as well as all kinds of sick stuff. Lots of pornographic donuts and things like that. I don't know if I'll be able to find the picture immediately, but sometimes they take things down once they get bad press. Yeah, okay, there you go. There's your pentagram. Isn't that wholesome? Here's your what is that movie? What is that guy? I don't remember what that's called, but that's your murder movie stuff. There he is. There's your man. Hey, they're all pentagrams. I really want to see the Jesus on the cross donut because it's totally rude. But anyhow, it's funny because he really doesn't know what's up. I mean, come on. This guy is in Washington all the time and he doesn't know. Come on. Don't give me that. I don't think so. Mary Mullen says, I'm heartsick, Franklin. And Fiona Barnett, boy, she don't like him. Fakelin. Graham. His father did some bad stuff when she was 6, and I will leave it at that. So he is going to be smiling his little creepidocious smile next to the sign involving this whole thing that I don't really want to talk a whole lot about right now. Let me go back to that. I don't really want to hear about Q. Oh, see, here we go. So FG tries to erase his voodoo, and I don't want to read those words, but hide your sons, hide your sons. And then his choice of words is just ridiculous. Now remember, this is the man that is setting up camp to give you the illusion that this whole lie is legit, right? Borrowing his street cred, just like the whole Tom Hanks borrowing his street cred thing. And there's so much that could be said about Tom Hanks, but I think I'll save that for another video another day. Take a look at these killer donuts. Hashtag Portland. It's like, why would you even be giving free advertisement to the planet, which is what this equates to? It says here, oh, very same outlet, FBI busted for, and then, oh, where do all those 800,000 children annually go that we just can't find? They must just disappear. They must just be walking down the street and the vortex opens up and they disappear. Where are all those kids going? I didn't realize it was FBI, but yeah, okay. So that's a pretty big deal here. And there's an article here that goes into all of the really pornographic type of donuts that they have. I'm surprised I was not able to find the Jesus Christ on the cross donut, but yeah, their little satanic sodomy slogan is the magic is in the hole. And that's just your basic Crowley magic. And these guys make a lot of money. So why would you advertise for them? And then Fiona, why would you say killer anything again after I called you out on the first time? Where's your proud tweet and photo of you eating pentagram and not pentagram boy parts voodoo donuts? And are you going to address your father's P behavior? Do we take your silence as being complicit? Woo! And then so the donut picture gets scrubbed, and what gets put in the place is the killer ribs and brisket at Real Porter's Barbecue in Richland, Washington. And she was just not having that. So, there is a whole backstory of insanity, and someone was just crackerjack quick at getting the screenshots before Homeboy took this down. I don't know who these people are. They just bought a ton of them. Now, was doing as one of the major governmental religious people for unaware, or however you want to phrase that, lacking common sense and knowledge. In fact, I might even have to go back and take those words out. I don't know. But anyhow, you get the gist of what I'm saying. These people are playing a part, and they kind of flag this out in hubris, and then they take it away. Like, I put it out, I take it away. I put it out, I take it away. And these people are playing a game, but they're doing it in the name of Jesus Christ, and that is the game changer. And so that's kind of who you're dealing with. Which is not good. And I want the picture of the rude Christ on the donut. And I want it now. Where is that? I don't see it. I may not be able to find it. Okay, then. Have they really stripped it? It's like, you're the one that made it. Okay, what am I looking at here? Are you serious? Okay. Don't know how much more I want to explore of this particular topic, but the essence of evil and then procreation with hide your sons and daughters has become big business in America. Get back here. Oh yeah, that's okay. Well, I mean, if you're kind of pushing a type of world agenda change and worldview in which the fabric of society is picked to pieces by an enemy who knows what things would be of a good value in nature, and they stealthily, sneakily push that agenda with the predetermined knowledge of how to destroy a society. That is what's happening under the rights of certain fringe lunatics. I bet that is a really good video. But remember, Dr. Michael Heiser, who believes that at glorification you can become gods, and wrote the book saying that this 11-year-old in Stranger Things is a perfectly good, suitable role model for encapsulating a twisted and inverted, that's my take on it, a twisted and inverted gospel through an 11-year-old named El, which El is one of God's names, as well as Satan co-opting and counterfeiting God's names and different things that God has put forth. He says that Stranger Things is a perfectly good way to get the gospel across. Well, isn't that just precious? So, wow, I bet this is a really good site. See, yeah. Okay. Oh my, okay. Well, goodness. There you go. There you go. The founders of Voodoo Donut. You know, we live really close, so we could go if we wanted to, but why would we take our children to this? Oh my. Rainbow rears. Mm. Wow. Okay, that's it. That's all I want to know. Okay. So everybody else on the planet is able to access this type of information, but somehow Franklin Graham just didn't know. I don't know. I just didn't know. And here's the box that's a pink Ouija board. I really want to find this donut. If I can't find it in a minute, we'll just abandon the hope here. There we go. You just gotta put in there, right? He is risen. Here's the serpent tongue thing that they do that they just think is so funny. It's just so funny. And here is your Lord on the cross on a donut. But Franklin just had no idea. And I'm supposed to believe that? Are you kidding me? Christian friends, would you eat at a place called Voodoo Donuts? No. Me neither. But son of Billy Graham, Franklin Graham, seems to like the place, praising its, quote, killer donuts. So there's here's some scents from Granny Good Food. Granny Good Food. Oh, and there's the serpent. Good things come in little pink boxes. Well, you know, you can just figure that out. The business mantra for Voodoo Donuts is the magic is in the hole. Now, this is going to get vile, so turn away if you don't want the ugly truth. But the act of, what did God firebomb early on in Genesis? Sodom and what? That thing, a penis penetrating figured out, is believed in occultism to open the third eye. Yes, it's one of the ways that you can do that. Yoga is the other way. So, just figure it all out. And so what is Franklin doing at such a place that puts his Lord on a donut? Okay, you dig? You get it? And now he's in New York setting up for the lie. And Jonathan Merritt has a problem with that, to stir and cause dissension here. So, yeah, I mean, there is a greater context of what is happening here when you shirk the official narrative and you use your mind, and it's all dim. Absolutely. Absolutely. All of them. So you can read this for yourself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Orwellian order.
If there is
That's actually very interesting if you just read that. I'm sorry if you're on a phone. I hope you can read that. The issue, see, this is smack on true. This 3 lines right here are really important. And in fact, I left a comment on a Call for an Uprisings channel, and it deals with this very concept with public approval.
Taste of things to come.
Yeah, I do. Kids, smoking, a desire to raid the fridge.
The rampant exchange of bodily fluids was one of the major reasons for the downfall of society. After AIDS, there was NRS. After NRS, there was UBT. And one of the first things that Dr. Cocteau was able to do was to outlaw and behaviorally engineer all fluid transfer out of societally acceptable behavior. Not even mouth transfer is condoned.
She says not allowed?
Ugh.
My presence.
How you doing?
We are not used to physical contact greetings.
Germs.
Look, I don't know if you guys know it, but you're out of toilet paper.
Did you say toilet paper?
Oh, they used handfuls of wadded paper back in the 20s.
No more toilet paper for you people.
So let's see what's cooking, and I'll show you my comment, and we're going to start wrapping together some connections to kind of show you when we pull the matrix back and we set it on fire with our good friend logic, what do we have by which we can operate with, and what can we do to help the people around us that don't know the Bible, that don't understand what's happening, that don't get their military grade level intelligence through the prophetic words of Jesus the Christ, where we have been exposed to that game plan. So while the rest of the world is in utter darkness, perceptionally especially, you and I have been given a special gift of the scripture. And I'm even reminded of the promise in the book of Revelation, which some people just completely ignore, which I think is really foolish. But nonetheless, it says that if you read it, it is a gifted, I forget how it's phrased. There is a gift within it. And I think it's talking about, in terms of giving you light for the rundown of how things will happen. And it's given very early on in the book of Revelation. And of course, we don't just look at one thing in the Bible. We look at the whole composite picture that is produced when we have, all of the scriptures in like manner connected and functioning together like a car engine with all the different little pistons and this is nuts. All functioning together, we get a good, clear understanding of where we are in space and time. And I'm trying to talk about things that I really don't hear anybody else talking about, or trying to obtain a clear witness from Jesus, establishing where we are in space and time. And so we're going to look into that in a moment, but let me just plug for 2 other videos that I did. Let me show you. Oh, perfect. One of the guys I listen to, Money GPS, global economic shutdown and the financial sell-off, unprecedented job losses. And the title here on the video thumbnail is Global Economic Collapse Has Already Begun. And this is what he does for a living. And then his neighbor here out of another financial channel that I listen to quite a lot is the Silver Report Uncut. And it is entitled Ford Halts U.S. Production Indefinitely Amid Falling Demand, an Unsafe Workplace. And then it's comma, end of small business. So something that I always heard about in studying prophecy, because I've studied it for a lifetime, really, since I was about 12 years old. Now I'm 44. And one thing that I always heard them talk about, especially these Canadians, the Lalondes, they talked about how at the time of the end, setting up for that, what you would see would be like a consolidation of powers, where the many become part of the control of just the few. And I'm really seeing that happen in application of what's going around, what's going on around us, with the cover of the lie that I'm not allowed to talk about. But let me show you a recommendation. You really would do well if I was to pick just a couple videos that you would do well to listen to, and you had the time, and you can chunk it up. The Pandemic of Lies, Mass Death Equals Mass Deception, Kabbalah, Christ Coming Soon, Global Mass Agenda 21. And they've turned it into a fashion statement because it's part of a greater message. And yes, those are human skulls where he's got that wrapped around him. And he's looking fabulous while he's doing it in this pink and gray kind of sparkly attire that would make an amazing dress. I would recommend also the World Crisis Pressure to Unite All Religions under someone's Sanhedrin with the Roman Catholic Church for humanity in rejection to God and rebellion to God, and going the way of seeking after godhood, and really just the cheese in the trap of money, power, fame, wealth, and trying to become gods while shirking God all at the same time. So that makes up this great harlot, this global rebellion against God. And I really love that this picture had the mask over her, because you're really seeing the masked deception. And then you wouldn't go wrong checking Trump and Texas governor curfew or jail and your kids' re-education, Talmud Noahide law, and Madonna's fish fry song. You would not go wrong at all understanding the multi-purpose uses of the lie and what it is really, all the different goals and sub-goals that are being enacted in the vacuum that has been crafted, if you will. And then Midsommar war propaganda, Mother Earth pagan worshippers, Danny, to sacrifice John the Baptist Christians for those who will be here for that fun. And I really see that 10th thing setting up as that forthcoming trap and ensnarement that Christ warned about in Luke 21, that will be coming for those who were very religious motivated but never got born again and just unbelievers and anybody that wants to run to Christ, they're going to find that it is extremely difficult to do so, and that his name will be completely illegal very, very shortly. And then the sham scam is goofing you hard. New World blah blah. And global heist plus the debt flood setup, Trib, Feast of Trumpets, Rapture. And at the time it was put up was 199 days out when the Feast of Trumpets will commence. Now, a day later, you would be at 198 days. We know the Feast of Trumpet is then, and Christ fulfills feasts. And as you're looking at the headlines, as you're looking at the cacophony of global panic and so on and so forth that is being produced, and all of the sub goals that this channel and others have tried to, as good Christians and as thinkers and helpers who are trying to put our hat in the ring to assist humanity in whatever circle of influence we have been given, you can clearly see that this year is not a normal year on any level whatsoever. So these are going to be some really helpful videos, but then I just really invite you to go pick through. While some of them are a little bit longer, some are shorter, and there really is just a huge potpourri of information to help you understand the greater context of what is happening as it is in little slices and pieces. So let's hear what he has to say, and then I will share with you a comment, and hopefully all of that will kind of sort of come together to help us all together as we learn together, understand where we are in space and time.
Made up chaos. You got to see this headline on CNN today, and it's on all the mainstream websites. Experts. I can't even read it without laughing. This is what we've gotten to at this point with all the stuff that we've talked about. Like, you know, you don't have symptoms, but you might have it. Now they're saying experts tell the White House that you can catch this, you know, this thing that's going on through talking or even just breathing. Huh? Well,